We are in an era where human beings depend on communications more than ever before on human history. There is no doubt that we are in the revolution of information, made possible by information sharing among key players, infrastructure development, and growth of telecommunication companies that use innovation to deliver outstanding services to their customers. Through the growing numbers of phones, computers, and internet-accessible devices, more than 53% of the world's population can easily access the internet. Africa is not left behind, as it is diligently putting together means to make sure the communication industry is thriving. With the vast majority of people who are eagerly joining the communications arena, integration is creating an unbreakable knot around the ICT industry. The East African countries have understood the importance of regional integration in the communication niche specifically, which led to different actions, including the Major Memorandum of Understanding that was signed in the year 2006 in Dar es Salaam to rename EAPTO to the East African Communication Organization, Eaco. By 2011 in Burundi, the Eaco Congress agreed to combine secretariats and Rwanda offered to host it since September 2012. Eaco is established as a fully legal body with a diplomatic status in Rwanda.
Eaco, which was originally known as EAPTO, which stands for East African Regulatory Postal and Telecom Organization, was established in the year 2000. Therefore, the Secretariat used to move from one country to another when the chairmanship or when the leadership of this organization was moving to that country. So for example, if we have a chairman coming from Tanzania, then the Tanzania Regulatory Authority, the regulator in Tanzania, will take over the duties of Secretariat. And this brought a number of challenges, especially in following up the decisions and implementation and agreement of the organization. And in the year 2011, in Bujumbura, Burundi, the Congress there agreed to have a permanent secretariat, and Rwanda at that time offered to host it. So we as a secretariat were established in 2012, September, and we have full legal and diplomatic status in Rwanda. Eaco broadly has three objectives. One is to harmonize communication sector policy and regulatory frameworks. Also, second is to look at how we can develop the programs for the region in terms of postal, broadcasting, and telecommunication, or ICT, but also to look to find means and ways in order to achieve the reliable, faster, secure, and efficient communication services into our region. But broadly speaking, and as you can see from our mission statement, is to provide the coordination for the development of broadcasting, postal, and ICT sectors through harmonization of policy and regulatory framework.
The East African Communications Organizations, Eaco, brings together ICT training institutions, national ICT regulators, operators, service providers in the sector of telecommunication, broadcasting, postal subsectors, and other stakeholders in the communication sector within Burundi, South Sudan, Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Uganda. All of these are part of the Eaco within 4 diversities.
Eaco as an organization has a number of organs that help us to fulfill our mandate. The highest organ is called Congress, and Congress meets after every 2 years. And for your information, we are going to have a Congress in this year, 2019 in Tanzania, which will be 23rd Congress. And this makes a decision, overall decision about the direction of the organization. After the Congress, we have executive committee. It basically looks at, it's the one which supervises secretariat. Then we have different assemblies. We have 4 assemblies: assembly for the regulator, assembly for the postal sector, assembly for the telecom or ICTs, and assembly for the broadcasting. And then we have working groups that fits into this assembly. Currently we have about 7 working groups, and we have a number of committees that helps the operation of the organization. But lastly, the secretariat. Secretariat has a function of dealing with the day-to-day work of the organization. As I said, it is based in Kigali and reports its work to the ExCom, and where it be, then those decisions may go up to Congress.
Eaco has the Congress as its highest decision-making organ that meets every 2 years. The Congress chairperson is elected by members, and the elections have due regard to the principle of rotation. Eaco implements its strategic plans within 2 different bodies, namely the committee and working groups.
Eaco implements its strategic plan through working groups and committees as per the terms of reference. There are 2 committees, which are Legal and Human Resource Committee that deal with issues of legal and HR issues in the region. The second one is the Finance and Audit Risk Committee that deals with finance matters in the East African region. There are 7 working groups, namely Working Group 1 deals with policies, regulatory framework, harmonization. Working Group 2 deals with ICT infrastructure and connectivity. Working Group 3 deals with consumer protection and cyber security. Working Group 4 deals with postal and courier services regulation. Working Group 5 deals with broadcasting and spectrum management. Working Group 7 deals with numbering plans and IP addressing. Working Group 7 deals with e-wastes and counterfeit gadgets management.
E-waste is a new and emerging phenomenon in the world, and e-waste can have serious environmental and human health hazards if not handled carefully. Within the region, we have come up with a strategy on how to tackle e-waste, and this strategy has got a vision of ensuring that there is zero negative effect of e-waste within the Eaco member states by 2030. And the strategy has a number of pillars, one of which is the pillar on law, policies and regulations. We do have the second pillar, which is on infrastructure, and this aims at ensuring that we have e-waste infrastructure within the region. The third pillar of this strategy is on resource mobilization. The fourth pillar of the strategy is on institutional framework, and this is about having institutions that can be able to coordinate the handling of e-waste. This includes the regional steering committee and also the national steering committees within the individual countries. And then we have the last pillar on capacity building, research, and monitoring and evaluation. So going forward, we expect the region and the individual countries especially to collaborate in terms of the management of e-waste and in terms of ensuring that we are able to have uniform standards across the region in terms of handling e-waste.
Since their establishment in the year 2000 as EAPTO, which is now Eaco, a common citizen has been the center of daily activities. Regardless of the challenges Eaco meets, several plans are put in place to satisfy the needs of Eaco citizens and stakeholders in the region.
Eaco, and I think as you may understand as we go along, works through a number of working groups. And we have a specific working group that deals with the issue of consumer service in the region. Now, what we do in this working group, we meet as partner states, as member states, and we discuss and we benchmark. If there's something good happening in Rwanda, then we see how we can replicate that into another country within the region. And if possible, we come up with a framework for the whole region to follow in providing that kind of service to our consumer. For example, we have an issue of forced roaming for the people living in the border. Now, you know, we have a number of borders within the region. and the people in the border living in one country, their cell phone may pick signal from another country, and they will be looked at as if they are roaming to that country. And this incurs big charges. As you know, roaming charges are much bigger than the normal charges. For example, today, Rwanda is bordering Burundi, Tanzania, and Uganda. So in order for Rwanda to deal with this problem of forced roaming, they have to meet these countries at different times. But with the framework we have, we meet all of the 6 countries with our expertise. We agree on parameters. We agree on the schedule when we should meet in the border. And because of that, we have been able to minimize issues of forced roaming in the border. But we have also been able to cut costs for these countries to deal with this issue. Instead of meeting 3 people at different times, you can meet all of them at once and make a decision.
Any change that happens is because of the information that is distributed from person to person at a given time. The ICT sector is the future goldmine, and this can only be achieved through strategic partnership among regulators, operators, and the society, as it is the primary stakeholder in the industry. It's high time for regional integrations to thrive. It is time for inventions in the information and communications technology industry to involve the lowest class citizen to be its primary stakeholder.
My message to the communication sector stakeholder, I want them to look at the bigger picture. You know, today, when you look at the pillars of East African community, when we talk about single market, custom union, monetary union, and federation that we are heading to, communication sector is at the center of each of these pillars, that we are very key stakeholder to improve and to integrate the region. And as we are called as an enabler for other sectors, we need to take our space. But again, we need to take advantage of the community, because now we have a much larger market. We need our stakeholders not to think as a countries, but now as a region. And they have to go out there to take advantages. The number of people we have in the region to improve their businesses.
Eaco is concretely invested in the brighter future of East African information and communication technology for all.